United States, hostile administrators and violent protesters have made it difficult, sometimes impossible, for dissident students, those who disagree with prevailing views, to say what they think in public. It's annoying. The question is it also illegal on public campuses? Well, today, Attorney General Jeff Sessions announced a plan to intervene. Mr. Attorney General, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
So what is the problem you're seeking to address with this initiative?
We have too much suppression of free and open speech on college campuses today. Particularly conservatives are being silenced in many ways. Controversial speakers are being blocked. You have the veto by the heckler who threatens to protest and disrupt the speech, so the college may withdraw the speaker's invitation so there won't be a disturbance. These kind of things really threaten the entire educational system, in my view, the integrity of it. We have a heritage of free speech. It's in our Constitution. It's deeply embedded in our whole approach to life, and we need to push back. And so we're going to push back. Some of these actions can be a violation of civil rights. You have First Amendment rights in this country to speak, and sometimes those rights can be impacted. The Department of Justice will take what steps we can to make sure that these zones, these colleges don't create limiting zones for free speech.
I can think of many occasions where the government has moved in to curtail free speech rights. Under the Woodrow Wilson administration, for example, people were sent to prison for protesting the war or whatever. Can you think of other examples of the Justice Department moving in to ensure free speech rights?
Well, I'm not able to remember that, Tucker. I just don't remember any situation in which we've gone to a point where speech is threatened. But I will say this, back in the civil rights days, a lot of areas in the South attempted to silence voices that were against segregation. So that was a time that the federal government in many ways spoke, and I think in many ways spoke on free speech issues too. But it's an important issue. The trends have gone oddly, don't you think, from a time when we had a universal recognition that people should be able to express themselves freely and openly, to a time today where we're drifting back to trying to block people from having their voices heard.
What can these are private institutions, most of them, or many of them. What can the federal government do?
Well, we're focusing primarily on the public institutions. 33% of public institutions have some sort of speech codes that constrict freedom of speech, as I think most people would define it under the First Amendment. So this is a troubling trend. And so the First Amendment applies to public colleges and universities. And of course, private colleges, we want to call out and talk to college presidents, deans, faculty, trustees, to say, make sure that you're not discriminating in any way against people's right to speak, and or discriminating against them academically or otherwise if they have the courage to defend their beliefs.
What sort of action are you prepared to take if they ignore you?
Well, we can intervene and possibly even file lawsuits, but we'll be intervening this week, filing a statement of interest, which the United States government is entitled to do, in a case involving a constriction of free speech that we believe is important, and we'll be filing a brief to the court explaining why we think this is an important national right.
So you're hearing a debate arise this week about free speech in the wake of the president's demands the NFL fire players who protest the American flag and other symbols of the country. Do you think that his remarks contravene the spirit of the First Amendment?
Absolutely not. The President of the United States has free speech. He believes, and I believe, that people should take a moment before a football game and stand when the national anthem is played. What's wrong with that? It's not political. It's not an affirmation of Trump or Hillary Clinton or any other agenda. It's simply an affirmation and respect for the United States of America and this great heritage of freedom, and for these football players, prosperity that they have. So I think that's a perfectly appropriate thing for the president to say. They have a right. We have no legal case to condemn a person, a football player who doesn't stand. The owners may have rights to deal with their employees on the football field. But so I think they have all the rights every American does to speak out. They've got access to the internet. They have all kinds of ways to express their own opinions. But I think every American, no matter what their views on the issues, should stand for America, should salute the flag. I think otherwise we don't have the kind of nation that's healthy that we need to have to be strong and be able to have contentious debates within it.
What do you think it's about? Why do you think that some of the most successful people in our society would be taking a public stand against symbols of the country itself?
My thought is they haven't thought it through. They haven't realized that what they're doing is actually demeaning the country, not some politician they may disagree with, or not some issue that they feel strongly about. How is that the right way to express such a view? You should be able to articulate your view, advocate your view, defend your view against people who disagree. That's what America's about, not demeaning the country for which we're all blessed to live, in which we're blessed to live. So I think it's a big mistake. They haven't thought it through. Maybe they haven't been taught properly in the universities and colleges about what this means and why, historically, nations are important. That they function. Nations are how people are governed, how their lives are affected. So we need to be loyal to the great nation that we have, in my opinion, and standing up for the national anthem is certainly not too much to ask.
Attorney General Jeff Sessions, thanks.
Thank you.